The NBA is where the world's greatest basketball talent gathers to compete for the ultimate crown. It's the best display of skill, talent, and heart. Except when it comes to free throws. If players train their whole life to make it in the NBA, then someone must have forgotten to tell them about free throws. In this video, we'll be taking a look at the worst free throw shooters in NBA history. Number 10. Andre Drummond. Andre Drummond actually has the worst career free throw shooting percentage of everyone on this list at 38%. But with only 4 seasons in the league, there's still hope for him. Then again, it's not looking good. After raising his shooting percentage from his rookie year to his sophomore year, each season since then has seen his percentage drop. In the 2016 season, he shot just 35.5% from the line. In fact, Drummond holds the record for the most free throws missed in one game at 23. Number 9. Chuck Hayes. Okay, so Chuck Hayes actually has an okay free throw shooting percentage at 62%, but it's his crazy shooting form that earns him a spot on this list. It's amazing he makes any of them at all. I mean, you've got guys with perfect form who can't hit 50% of their free throws, and then you see his shooting form and wonder how he even came up with that. Or who knows, maybe it's an elaborate scheme to force lane violations and get his teammates extra rest. Number 8. Andris Biedrins. Andris Biedrins has actually made half of the 766 free throws he's taken. Honestly, that's not awful, but let's take a closer look at some of his individual seasons. He's had 3 seasons where he shot below 20% from the free throw line. And those weren't just garbage time seasons either. In the 2012 season, Biedrins averaged nearly 16 minutes a game and shot 11.1% on free throws. How he did not get fouled every time he touched the ball is beyond me. In the 2010 season, he averaged 23 minutes per game and shot 16% from the free throw line. In fact, every season of his career, he has a higher shooting percentage on contested shots from the field than uncontested, wide-open free throws. Number 7. Kwame Brown. I mean, for crying out loud, what can he do? He averaged double-digit points once, never averaged over 7.4 rebounds per game, and couldn't hit his free throws. How did he even get drafted? Now, to be fair, Kwame Brown hit 57% of his free throws, which, behind Chuck Hayes, is the highest shooting percentage on this list. But a lot of that is due to the fact that he shot around 70% in his first 3 seasons. As he bounced around the league, his free throw shooting got worse and worse. He finally ended up with the 76ers, how fitting, where he shot 36.8% from the line in his last season. Number 6. Dwight Howard. This would be like Superman being able to fly, but not hail a cab. Seriously, when Dwight Howard dunked from the free throw line, that was the easiest free throw he ever got, and he had to fly 15 feet to make it. Howard is a career 56.8% shooter and has shot below 50% in 3 seasons. However, this hasn't hindered Howard's game too much, though teams do target him in late game situations. If he made his free throws, he could be an even stronger leader. Number 5. DeAndre Jordan. Something about big men and free throws, it's just not their forte. Or maybe it's not enough practice. After all, there are plenty of big men who are good free throw shooters. However, DeAndre Jordan is not one of them. He's a career 42.1% shooter from the line and even tied Wilt Chamberlain's record of the most free throws missed in a game at 22. That record was later broken by the aforementioned Andre Drummond. DeAndre is so bad that the team often has to take him out in late game situations because he can actually hurt the team. Maybe it's in his head. Whatever it is, it's a problem. Number 4. Shaquille O'Neal. Of all of Shaq's achievements, here's one no one wants on their record. He's one of the only players to ever miss more than 5,000 free throws during the course of his career. Look at it this way, Shaq left over 5,000 points on the court. If he had made half of those, he would be 3rd all-time in points scored. Shaq could rebound, defend, and completely dominate his opponent. He just couldn't hit a wide-open shot from 15 feet away from the basket. Number 3. Chris Dudley. Chris Dudley is a player that most fans probably haven't heard of. And honestly, his only real claim to fame is being a terrible free throw shooter. Well, and this. Dudley has the 3rd worst free throw percentage of any player that attempted more than 1,500 free throws. He was so bad that in one game, despite odd circumstances that granted him 5 free throws in a single trip, he couldn't make any of them. He had a career free throw shooting percentage of 45.8 and had 4 seasons where he shot below 40%. Despite that, Dudley managed to have a 17-year career and earned around $40 million. Number 2. Wilt Chamberlain. Here's an interesting fact about Wilt Chamberlain and his free throw shooting. Because Wilt was such a bad free throw shooter, he adopted the technique of simply dunking his free throws. He would throw the ball in the air, jump from the free throw line, and dunk it. On one hand, it shows how athletic Wilt was, but on the other hand, it shows how bad of a free throw shooter he was. In fact, that's the reason for the rule we have now, stating that a player cannot cross the free throw line when shooting a free throw. This also played a role in his famous 100-point game. He shot 32 free throws that night, no doubt part of the hack a player strategy we still see. On that night, however, he made 28 of his 32 free throws, and made history along the way. Number 1. Ben Wallace. Ben Wallace was so bad at shooting free throws that he never cracked 50% in any season. For his career, he shot 41.4% from the line, the worst in NBA history for players with 1,200 attempts or more. He had 6 seasons in which his percentage was below the 40% mark. Despite all of that, Wallace was an NBA champion, 4-time All-Star, and 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. Defense wins championships, and Wallace followed that saying to a T. So here's an interesting question. How do you feel about the NBA's new rule meant to stop teams from intentionally fouling bad free throw shooters? Do you like it, or do you think players and teams should have to pay the price for their deficiency? Let us know in the comments. Make sure you follow us on social media to get updates as soon as we post a new video, and follow me on Twitter at @MTV_Sydney.